The European Union and ASEAN will celebrate 45 years of diplomatic relations next week. ASEAN leaders will join 27 European heads of state or government, along with presidents of the European Council and the European Commission in Brussels for the commemorative summit. While a green transition, connectivity and security are key issues on the agenda, Myanmar is also expected to be up for discussion. EU Ambassador to ASEAN Igor Driesmans spoke with Chandni Vatvani in Jakarta.
First of all, we're going to have, I think, a good discussion on the green transition, which I'm sure you know is top priority in Europe. How do we get to a climate neutral or a CO2 neutral economy? And how do we transition collectively, globally, towards that particular goal? So I think it's a good conversation to be had, because we can only achieve climate neutrality if we're all in this together. And secondly, connectivity. Our regions are the other side of the globe, but we're very connected. We're each other's third largest trading partner. But there's a lot of untapped potential, especially if we see that Southeast Asia keeps on growing and growing. And thirdly, security. Of course, a big issue in Europe these days, but also in Southeast Asia, if you look at the situation in Myanmar. So I think we want to work together on that. We want to be, I'd say, anchors of stability.
How significant is Indonesia to the EU with regards to its position in the region?
Indonesia is 1/3 of the region's population. It's also 1/3 of the region's economy, its GDP. So it obviously has an enormous weight within the region. And I think for us, Indonesia is also a like-minded partner in many different ways on multilateralism, on the rules-based international order. So I think we're delighted that Indonesia will take over the chairmanship next year. And there's a lot that we can do together.
With Indonesia chairing ASEAN in 2023, what is the European Union looking to address during this chairmanship?
One is the fact that Indonesia has been, I'd say, the mother or the father of the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific, which is ASEAN's vision on the wider region. And if you look at that particular vision, that outlook, it dovetails very well with the European strategy for cooperation in the Indo-Pacific. We're speaking about an inclusive region, excluding no one. Secondly, you will know there's a lot of expectations on the Indonesians' chairmanship when it comes to Myanmar. And I think Indonesia has, of course, a very solid technical expertise. They have the political will, the political clout to do something about this situation, which is now with us for almost 2 years. So I think we count on Indonesia to really push for a solution on this crisis, which is threatening not just the country, but the regional stability, so that we can have a return to democracy. We know it's not easy, but I think we look forward to work hand in hand and to lend our support to Indonesia in any way that we can.
When it comes to Myanmar, is ASEAN doing enough?
Well, I think ASEAN has done a lot. We know that ASEAN abides by this non-interference principle, but nevertheless, it has taken a rather strong position.
Will the EU be looking to nudge ASEAN or even Indonesia in its chairmanship to take tougher measures?
Well, I think we look forward to work with ASEAN as a whole and with Indonesia specifically on Myanmar. And I think if you look at the last decisions taken at the summit in Phnom Penh, it does set out a number of actions to be undertaken. One of it is that ASEAN commits itself to do more on humanitarian aid. It's something that we're, of course, very keen to work on together. We look forward to continue to step up the pressure on the junta, because at the end of the day, the 5-point consensus has, by ASEAN's own admission, not been implemented enough, but the fault of that lies squarely within the junta's unwillingness to commit to implement any of the 5 points. So we need to ramp up the pressure on the junta as well.